Hey guys, welcome to Stock Talk. On August 13th, we're looking at the S&P 500 SPY on the intraday chart. And before we go any further, I just want to say thank you so much for all of your comments. You guys have posted a lot of tickers for me to look at, so we'll try to get through most, if not all of them today. And I want you guys to once again recall what we said in previous videos. Remember the weekend Stock Talk that was released yesterday? We talked about a resistance for the SPY at 284. Now, you guys can see that here, intraday, we did manage to peek over, but what happened? This is the time where the markets tried to trick you, and you know, it looked like we were going to break this resistance, but then all of a sudden we reversed, and here was the major decline following the increased volatility spike. So we'll talk about volatility in a moment, but the implications of what happened today continues to be a downward trend. And you guys have to note that this rejection here, once again today, is a negative sign, obviously, for the markets. So remember, our buy area, or at least my buy area, it doesn't have to be your buy area, and this support area is around 279.40. That is and should be a very solid support for the market, such that we would expect a bounce if we get to that level. Right now we're at the 20 period moving average, and you know, this one could hold, but it certainly doesn't have to. Remember that we are continuously going down right now, and that's just what we have to focus on. Is there a possibility to retest this resistance tomorrow? Sure, of course there's a possibility, but the possibility of it closing above that area tomorrow is doubtful, at least right now. So I want to just tell you guys that. Looking at volatility, or TVIX, you guys can see TVIX is looking significantly more promising in terms of volatility. We made a low here. This was 2 days ago, and you guys can see that we gapped higher, and this time we went over the 20 EMA line. So you guys can see that we closed pretty much at the peak, and this usually signifies another up leg for volatility. So, you know, just keep that in mind, and we'll see what happens in the near future. Okay, let's take a look at commodities. The first one we'll tackle is 4/CL, or crude oil futures. Crude oil, now if you guys were confused by this chart today, I really wouldn't have blamed you, because it was a very kind of confusing pattern, in such that we had a, you guys can see, I actually change these lines just a little bit. Looking at the 1 year chart, you guys can see that the support level continues to be the 150 period moving average here, and it continues to be here. However, today, you guys can see intraday, we managed to dip below this line. So you might be like, well, Kevin, what actually happened? So if you guys were watching crude oil, you guys know what happened, right? This massive reversal. 1 day intraday chart. Can you guys see this? We formed a reversal, and all of a sudden we recovered everything. So this looks to me like higher prices are to come for crude oil, at least in the short term, and that's just what I see. However, we do have to pay attention that the resistance is at 67.75. So right now, crude oil is in a confusing pattern. It's a little contradictory right now. However, given today's trend and our push back up, it looks more promising for crude oil, at least in the short term. Okay. 4/NG natural gas futures. Remember, for natural gas last time, we talked about how natural gas was making, you know, a slight comeback, and like coming back towards the 20 moving average right here, in which we're curving up, in that we were overextended, and that coming back down does not, you know, pull the bullish case away, but it's just a regular retracement back to the EMA line, and that is exactly what we're seeing right now. And I told you guys, you know, it's probably a good time to take out some profits back here, when UGAZ was only down 0.5% on Friday. Remember that? So today, you know, UGAZ, which follows natural gas, went down another 1%, slightly more, and you guys can see that it's trying to curl back down, perhaps, you know, before another leg up. Right now, nothing wrong with the bullish case for natural gas, but this is just a natural move back slightly. All right, 4/GC gold future. Guys, here it is. We've been waiting for this and waiting for this, and it has happened. Remember, I gave this chart to a layman, right? Any person outside of doing stocks, walking in the street, tell them what would happen if we didn't have this red candle here. What would happen if I gave you this chart? And any person would say that it would continue on lower. Today, all of the energy built up consolidating at the major support got released to the downside, and gold is in trouble. Gold is in a lot of trouble, and we're looking for gold prices to dip even further. And this one, I have the next support at 1150. Does it have to get down there? Certainly not. Not in, 2 days or 3 days, but you can imagine that is the potential in which gold can fall within the next few weeks. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. So gold is not looking good at all, guys. If you take a look at JNUG, which follows gold, it is under $10. Can you believe that? So that is what am I doing? Let me show you guys the look at that. Right, we can't even look at this chart. All right, so with that, let's get to your tickers. Eric, we'll start with you with the ticker SHOP, which is Shopify. So this one is one that I think a lot of people like because it's been on an uptrend. You guys can see that higher highs plus higher lows plus a very solid pattern at the support. The one thing you want to keep in mind in this case is looking at the 1-year chart. You guys can see that we're getting rejected at the 20-period moving average. And, our best time for entry should be around 140. We're getting very close to that level, so I think if you wanted to take a position, you certainly could, but right now we don't have that sign of a reversal from this rejection area. As a matter of fact, this is the sign of a reversal back down instead of reversal back up. So perhaps wait one more day, perhaps a couple more days, let this stabilize at this area, and then we could probably relook at this. But this is a good trend. I do like it. Thank you, Eric, for that ticker. Evan, can you please comment on LABU? So LABU is one that moves rather quickly, and you guys can see on the 3-year chart that it's been pretty much holding this 50-period moving average. And right now, you guys can see we're very close to it. So, the question is, if you're willing to get into this one, are you willing to sacrifice that 5 to 7% drop, which it could potentially do, even though we're close? So, that's one for you to evaluate. But right now, you guys can see that last week, we got rejected at the 20-period moving average. This one is on a declining pattern, and there is no sign of reversal right now. And therefore, I think this is another one where it's good, but let's wait a couple more days to find that sign of reversal before going in. Long in SD, what software am I using for analysis? This is the Thinkorswim platform. Chris, let's take a look at MRVL. Okay, so for MRVL, this is a pretty solid pattern. You guys can see that it's been on a bull flag pattern. This is a bull flag, and that right now you guys can see where we've hit the 50-period moving average. Here, we bounced off. Here, we tried to bounce off. You guys can see we tried here, tried here, tried here. Now we're declining. So even though we're in a bear flag or bull flag formation, I think this is another one where we can wait for that signal of a trend change, which we do not see right now. I like your ticker selection, like a lot of other people who submitted their tickers today, but it's just not the opportune time. As you guys can see, right now it's still going down, and I doubt that you would want to enter when something's going down. What if it goes down another 3%, right? So I'm sure you can find a better time. Jason, yep, so I gave you the Facebook page. If you guys don't know that we do have a Facebook page, it's in the description box below, so feel free to sign up. I give you guys updates too sometimes. So today I gave you guys updates on when SPY was crossing that resistance area and getting rejected at the resistance area. So at least things that you can watch. Jason, ticker XOP, looking at drip or gush based off of XOP. So XOP is the oil glass exploration. So like you said perfectly, it is based off of gush and drip. So you guys can see that, this fell. So drip indeed did go higher. So we talked about drip in the past few videos. and actually in the last stock talk, in that DRIP was starting to have that sign of a reversal from its that monthly decline that it was having, and DRIP looks more positive now, and DRIP in fact went up 7% today. And this is on a decline trajectory. The one thing you got to keep in mind is we are at a near-term support, but certainly if we go up to the 20 EMA, perhaps get rejected again, there is a potential for this one to continue on lower. The one thing you just want to be cautious of is, once again, this is a support area right in this general vicinity, and I talked about a short-term, at least, crude oil to the upside. So you just want to keep that in mind when looking at that. Draxon, long weekend after the drop, and thank you for your analysis. Ticker BA, please. So you're welcome, Draxon. Thank you for your comment. So here's Boeing, and Boeing, another very nice predictable pattern, but the one thing I want to keep in mind is if markets do continue to drop, I wouldn't expect Boeing to go counter trend against the market. This one probably will follow the market more or less, and therefore I see markets perhaps dipping a little more, and therefore I think Boeing is not going to go significantly higher if the markets are dipping. I like this area of support, but I think we should wait on this one as well. This markets are dipping. Just patience. Rico at AMD hitting 2020 this week. Great video. So thank you for your comment as always, Rico. And AMD, good call out. 3.5% higher today. Great job. Then, so forgot your ticker. Thank you for submitting your ticker today. GE. So we talked about GE. GE was in a wedge pattern. Can you guys see this wedge pattern? Maybe you can't really see it on the 180-day chart. Can you guys see this wedge pattern? I made this a long time ago, and there it is, right? We broke down from the wedge pattern, and now we're going lower. No sign of reversal, and therefore one we really can't explore right now, unless you're possibly shorting, but I don't like to short GE right now, but this is not looking good. So can't go long. DJ Sin, thank you. And then, guys, that's it for this video. I know it was rather a quick one, but I just want to point out the major movements of the market, some commodities, and some of your tickers. So in the meantime, hopefully you guys are having a positive day. You guys are seeing some nice trends. Just note that the markets came down significantly, but we had a lot of tickers that ended up in the positive. We had, for example, AMD, like I said. We had Square. We had Amazon. Those big companies did end the positive today. So just keep that in mind as we move on forward. But in the meantime, thank you for watching this video. I'll see you guys tomorrow, Tuesday, for another Stock Talk as always. And happy trading tomorrow.